Good afternoon, scaredy cats. Hope you enjoy the video today and please like, comment, and subscribe. Number 1. Never meet your neighbors. When I first moved into a new place in a new town, I had left home one evening and accidentally left my garage door open. Texted husband to tell him so he could go home and close it. He gets there and tells me it's not open. That's strange, but okay. The next day, I'm taking my trash out and my neighbor was outside. He introduced himself and told me that the night before he noticed me leaving and I left my garage door open, so he went inside and closed it and let himself out through the front door, only locking the doorknob lock. Then he sent me a Facebook friend request. I'm assuming he looked at mail on my counter to find out my full name. After this, he wrote me poems and taped them to my door, left gifts on the front porch, made crazy Facebook posts about a woman he was in love with who was forbidden. I'm married. One Saturday night I came home really late, and I was finishing my cigarette outside of my garage before going in. He was sitting outside in a chair, blistering drunk. He approached me and started talking about someone named George. I had no idea what he was going on about and confused, I asked him if he had company. He walked into the garage and came out with a box containing George. George was his stepdad, and he was dead. The ashes were in the box. He caught wind of a trip I was going on via Facebook and invited himself along. I politely explained that I'm married and all of his wacky behavior was unacceptable. A few days later, I had gone on a walk with my husband, and we left through the garage, leaving the door open. He messaged me on Facebook and told me he left a gift for me in my garage. When I got back, I found a bunch of camping gear inside of a giant Easter egg. After I got back from the trip, he showed up at our door at midnight, drunk and banging on the door. We moved. Number 2. When stalking becomes verbal abuse. An ex-boyfriend who I dated for a grand total of 3 weeks got really attached in those 3 weeks and told me he loved me after we had sex. I told him I was flattered, but didn't reciprocate. I decided to break up with him soon afterwards because he was way too intense. I told him this, and then the abuse began. He began texting, calling, and Facebook messaging me incessantly. It varied wildly what he'd say, begging for me to come back and come over for sex, graphically detailing how he hoped I would die, telling me what a slut I am. I blocked him from my phone and on Facebook and Snapchat after he ignored my request to stop contacting me. He began messaging me through the accounts of mutual friends, without their permission, I later found out, and leaving me about 10 voicemails a day. He even got hold of my work email, which I never gave him, and sending me long paragraphs in which he would bounce wildly between lamenting his love for me, diagnosing me with various mental illnesses, which was everything from bipolar disorder, depression, anxiety, MPD, and Asperger's syndrome. It was a new one each time. He dragged up the one time we had sex into this too, and telling me that I was broken because why would I not want to be with him? I ended up getting a new email to use at work because it turns out you can't block someone from emailing you. I once again sent a single line in a reply. It just said, "Stop contacting me." He wasn't done there. He had previously been text messaging me, which he was blocked from doing. He found out that my MacBook can receive iMessages from his iPod Touch using my personal email address, which he did have. So here come the iMessages, mostly D-pics he found on 4chan while calling me a slut and a whore. And taking screenshots and posting my angry and distressed replies to his friend's group chat. Screenshots of this group chat got sent to me. Thankfully, the mutual friend in that chat was actually sticking up for me. Everyone else was telling him to try and have hate sex with me. I ended up turning off the iMessage function on my Mac altogether so he couldn't do it anymore. Again, I asked him to stop contacting me, this time threatening legal action to stop it, which he allegedly though was hilarious. I ended up going to the police and they gave him a call, telling him that they knew what was going on and that stalking charges would be pressed if he kept going. They told me to text him in front of them and tell him the call was coming. His reply made me angry beyond all reason. It said, "Stop contacting me now, bitch. I've had my fun." I didn't reply under instructions from the police, but I went home and threw things around in anger for about 10 minutes. On the bright side, I haven't heard from him since. Number 3. The voice on the phone. August 2001. Like most freshmen, I live in the dorms at a state party school. A good buddy from military school, Bill, went to same college and lived a few floors below in the same dorm as me. For the most part, the first month or so of college was normal. I went to most of my classes, partied just about every night, chased girls around, and that was enough for the moment. But things began to change one night sometime in mid-September, and college for me would never be normal again. My dorm phone rings in the middle of the night. Hello? On the other end, I can only really describe the voice as the kind you picture when you think about a computer talking. Kinda like the early model car GPSs. Hi Gary, how are you today? Not fully awake, I'm just confused at this point. Who is this? He repeats, hi Gary, how are you today? It becomes clear I'm being F with, so I hang up and chuckle. Freaking Bill, nice one. I pass back out. I end up forgetting about the call for a few days and never mention it to Bill or anyone else. About a week later, I get another call around the same time of night. Hi Gary, I am watching you. Nice, very cliché. Seriously, Bill, how are you not knee-deep in Everclear or a Tri-Delt at this hour? Enough already, Cade, my roommate, is going to start getting pissed. I hang up. I casually confront my oh-so-clever amigo at breakfast the next morning. He gives a genuinely confused response. Whatever. So a couple days after second call, I come home and see I had multiple messages on my answering machine. What the F? I barely knew that thing even worked. It's computer voice guy. Message 1. My machine cuts off first 1 to 2 seconds of message, which tells me it's a bot set to play message upon answer. Hi Gary, I am watching you. Message 2. I thought I asked you to answer my calls, Gary. Message 3. Where might Gary be on a Tuesday night? The calls start coming more frequently over the next couple months, starting at once a week, then to once every 2 to 3 days, up to every day by Christmas break. Uneventful break, and back to school determined to become a new man. First night back, I get my first spring semester call from CVG. How is your family in Surprise, hometown suburb? Okay, now this is freaking BS, man. Calls become threatening and downright dark. I'm very interested, Gary, in being close to you. I have tools I can bring. It is going to all be over soon. One day I bring Bill and all my other buddies up to hear the messages, never deleted a single one for some reason. The guys are in shock. Around March. The calls were coming in no fewer than 10 or 15 every single day. Seriously. But I finally get the message I'd been waiting for. The day, time, location are set. We will meet in front of Coleman Hall at midnight Wednesday 27 April and we will take our friendship to the next level. My home team crowd steadily built up throughout the afternoon and evening. I'm left with about a 15 to 20 member platoon. I had decided earlier that I was not going to allow all these knuckleheads to shadow me, but I could definitely use them in case of emergency. I didn't want to risk him spooking out of the meet. So I let them know they will need to stay inside the doors of the common area while I walk out to the meeting spot. About 100 paces out from my spot, I observe two things at the same time. 1. Some kind of small quick movement in front of the patio walkway that goes all the way around the building. And 2. The movement was in a spot along the walkway where the only normally uber bright bulb is out. I'm not exactly sure how I was able to see him. But I suddenly realize someone is crouched behind one of the contiguous cookie-cutter bushes outside the patio perimeter against one of the building pillars. In dark clothes and hoodie, he is a few feet off from the path where I'm supposed to meet him, and positioned to where I really should not have been able to see him. Given the pillar blocking any shadow plus the burnt out, I later found out, smashed light. In fact, I could have easily walked all the way to the door without ever have noticed someone down there. Nope. I sort of jump mid-step as this happens, and I see him raise up a little, thinking I might have seen him. I see him raise up and take a step toward me, and fight or flight hits. Before I realize what I'm doing, I'm in a dead sprint toward this MF, who I'm guessing sees what I can't yet, which is my platoon busting through the glass doors in hot pursuit. Creepster nopes the F out of there, running on the patio alongside Coleman Hall toward the parking lot. I realize I'm moving fast enough to catch him, but everyone else is really far behind. I also realize I'm moving so fast I won't be protected as I turn hard right at the corner of the building. If he stops there, I'm toast. As I turn the corner, I see the van sitting alone in the parking lot in front of me. Its running and brake lights flicker on then off. Park into drive and begins inching forward toward the exit. Homeslice is of course heading for the van, which for some reason sent this whole new level of fear into me. This is it, this is really happening, and I'm going to get freaking murdered tonight. But I can't stop, something keeps me moving forward. I guess I'd come this far, dealt with this crazy BS for almost a full year now, completely unable to do anything other than try to ignore it. If I could get close enough to dive tackle, I would still be on my own to deal with the creepster, his driver, and now I realize there's a third one that was manning the sliding side door. Awesome. I don't care how badass you think you are when you're a 19-year-old jock, your chances of taking down 3 grown men that are already violent criminals and prepared to victimize are about 1 and not gonna freaking happen, buddy. My turn is wide and slow due to being full-on sprint, and I lose ground. I'm probably 20 yards from the lot when he does a flying leap into the side of the van. There couldn't have been any rows of seats for a leap like that. Creepster number 3 slams sliding door shut as van peels out of the parking lot, bangs a right, and gone in an instant. We finally start walking back, and I'm reliving the scene as we retrace our steps. As we get closer to the original meeting spot, I see something that scares me more than anything else in the entire equation has up to this point. On the opposite side of the pillar where Creepy was crouching, there's a video camera sitting on a stand pointed right at the spot I would have been standing at when I should have not been able to notice him. It's still recording.